There are 10 simple, quick, and easy CELPIP shortcuts that help you in all modules, and you can use them effectively to boost your scores. With this video, you will increase your points immediately once you follow these 10 steps, starting with step number 1. Now, if you can nail down the writing and speaking structures in CELPIP for all parts, you can overcome all obstacles once you have the structure organized, and we're going to cover all parts here. Let's talk about writing task 1 and 2. CELPIP writing task 1, you need to start with a salutation at the start, have a salutation at the end, because these are emails you will be writing to people. Now, in the middle, you should have 5 paragraphs in total. The first paragraph is the purpose or greeting. Purpose right away if it is formal. Greeting if it is informal. The 5th paragraph is the greeting, informal or formal depending on the context, while the 3 paragraphs in the middle are bullet points 1, 2, and 3 in that sequence. Only cover 1 bullet point per paragraph. For each paragraph, you want to have 2 to 3 sentences only. This ensures your word limit is satisfied. This also ensures your task response is appropriate since you have 1 bullet point per paragraph, and this ensures you have the perfect structure. When it comes to task 2, you have to choose between 2 options, option A or B. You pick an option in your head. In the first paragraph, express that opinion. This is the option I chose because briefly state your reasons. In the conclusion, which is going to be your 4th paragraph, rephrase that opinion again. In body 1, you should have 2 points supporting your side. In total, this should be 4 sentences. In body 2, you should have 2 points opposing the other side, the one you did not select, and explain why that was a terrible option. They should also have 4 sentences in total. Once again, ensuring your task response is complete with each side being covered. Your words are enough, between 150 to 200, and your paragraphing fits the structure and flow for task response and coherence. Now, when it comes to speaking, we have different tasks with different times. First of all, we'll dig in task 1 and 7, where you have to speak for 90 seconds. In both tasks, you want to start with your opinion at the start, have it rephrased at the end with your last sentence, and in between, you should have 3 points explaining your opinion or your choice. Spend 20 seconds on each point. This ensures in total you're done in 90 seconds. When it comes to tasks 2, 3, 4, and 8, you should first start with your overall thought, your overall opinion, your idea of the picture, your idea of the topic. Then at the end, rephrase your overall thought. Much similar to tasks 1 and 7, the ending is simply rephrasing. In the middle, you should only focus on 3 to 4 points, which are going to be quality points and descriptions instead of quantity points. You do not need to have 10 points here, just 3 to 4 main points explained well with examples if possible. Now, in task 5, you have the comparison question. You want to start with acknowledging the debate. I understand Bob or Sarah, whoever you're talking to, you prefer this option. However, I would much rather go with this option. And now you start explaining the features that you see on the screen with the picture. Explain all the points, not only yours, but also the opposing side, and compare, because this is comparison and persuasion. Now, when it comes to task 6, this is where you are explaining a difficult condition. So you start with the condition, you give 3 or 4 reasons explaining why you choose this option to whoever you're talking to. But at the end, make sure to have an emotional touch. For example, I really apologize because I understand this is not what you preferred. However, it is best for whatever. Strategy number 2 involves reading for concepts. This helps you avoid the paraphrasing traps, and it helps you remember the questions. A lot of the times, the words that you see in the question, for example here, are paraphrased. They're not the same words. Then the other problem is you're looking at the question and the passage again and again. But if you understand the concepts, you're avoiding the paraphrasing problem, and you almost memorize the question, making reading easy. Now here I would look at number 1, economic benefits. So I'm thinking of the concept of finances, money, something related to money movement and jobs maybe. Number 2, I'm looking at the role of urban planners in transportation. The role is what I'm concerned about. So I'm thinking about their job description, their activity, their responsibility. Number 3, challenges. Now here I'm looking at negative words, something that is a hurdle, something that's an obstacle, something that is stopping people from development or progressing. Now, with similar concepts and understanding questions this way, I know exactly what I have to look for and my mind is sharp. And I'll be able to catch those things quickly in the passages. Strategy number 3 is listening for memory, not just notes. Note-taking is what you need to do mainly. However, you don't realize, and a lot of people don't realize, that memory is the bigger factor. For example, have a look at this transcript on your screen. In this one, we can easily memorize the green areas and simply write down the red areas. Here's what I mean. In recent years, the global smartphone industry has experienced a surprising slowdown. So I can say in my brain that, okay, the phone sales have declined. That is something that I should at least understand and remember. I don't need to write it down. Now, the next part is a general thing. You don't even need to remember this. It's just a bunch of words. What was once a booming sector characterized by fine. Now here it says double-digit growth. I might have a question, how much was the growth? Was it double digits, 50%, 10%? This is something that is specific. I might forget this. I'll write this down. Continuing, it says, has entered a period of stagnation and even decline. So I understand so far that from the start, the topic was about the sales have decreased. This is kind of repeating that. I don't need to write this down. It's in my head. The next part is very specific though. It talks about companies. It talks about shipments being dropped for consecutive quarters. These are specific things. I might forget this. I'm going to write this down. The next part after this, it says, analysts suggest that this trend may continue, but why are phone sales falling in a world more connected than ever? Once again, this is the overall theme. Phone sales have declined. It's kind of repetitive. I understand this is the overall concept. Don't need to write this down. Listen to understand and commit to memory helps you multitask and not have everything written down. If you're liking the content so far, would really appreciate it if you could drop a like and subscribe. It really helps us grow. Now let's talk about reading part 2. This is where it is a little complex because you have a picture on your left-hand side and a bunch of questions on your right-hand side. When you answer these questions you see on your screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 usually, you're looking at the picture and answering based on the picture. However, later on, you see a section 2, which is just below question number 5, questions 6, 7, and 8. These questions are related not to the picture mostly, but to the people who were talking in the initial section. Jonathan's tone when giving advice. Jonathan's partner. What was their relationship like? Here, the cheat code is you're not looking at the picture for the most part. You're understanding the relationship and how the people were interacting in the last section. Remember that. Your cheat code number 5 is understanding writing and speaking complex sentences and where you have to place them. Complex sentences are sentences with more than one clause in it. Now here in task 1 and 2, writing, all you need to do is have at least 2 of these complex sentences in all bodies. In writing task 1, 3 bodies. Writing task 2, 2 bodies. Just have 2 complex sentences among those bodies. When it comes to speaking, here you have 2 90-second questions. In those long ones, you should at least have 1 complex sentence per question. And in the other questions, you should have 1 per question. So basically in all the rest of the questions, try having 1. But remember, it's important to keep it natural. In the 90-second questions, you can definitely get 1 in. In all the other questions, if it is fitting in naturally, go for it. If not, don't force yourself. Now, one thing that's going to shock you is the exam conditions, and that's where you need to be ready for what you're going to encounter in speaking, and that is other people speaking and making noise. So when you are speaking and you have this distraction, you will be surprised and shocked, but at home. All you can do is prepare your speaking, practice it with noise playing in the background. Play some news channel so that you're practicing at home with distractions and you're not shocked on the exam day. Point number 7 we have to pay attention to is having even more exam-like simulations and situations. The more you're familiar with the exam environment, the better you'll be set up to do the actual exam. Now here, I would highly recommend going for our CELPIP 15-hour self-paced course that comes with 25 mock tests simulating the CELPIP exams environment. And here you get teacher feedback plus AI feedback. All of that is included in our CELPIP 15-hour self-paced course. Check it out in the description below. Now, let's talk about clarity, because a lot of people lose marks here, but you don't have to be losing marks. It's needless. Let's talk about some examples. This happens in writing and speaking. So here you see the first sentence. It says, I was not happy with the conditions, like the washrooms were dirty, the food was also not good, the service was also bad. Here you have too many things going on in just one sentence. Each of these could be different sentences, and in fact could even be different paragraphs. If you're saying that in speaking, you're again just adding too much in one place. Let's look at the second sentence, see if that's better. The service was terrible, and the servers paid no attention to our requests. Not only were they mostly unavailable, but they also were rude when they did listen to us. So up to here, you're explaining the problems. Maybe that's okay. Look at the next sentence. I recommend trying to have management training for them in order to. So now you're going from problems to solutions, and it's in the same paragraph, making this unclear. So both of these sentences are wrong. Now, if we were to see a fix of this, see the first version, the first paragraph, which only has the problems. And the next paragraph is where you start with the solutions. Here you also have a connector. Nevertheless, there are ways to fix this. For example, and this is how you build a good flow in writing. Plus, if you're using this in speaking, that's again a key you need to build a flow going from one thing to another, showing your coherence and your clarity in your ideas, not cramming everything, but expanding things separately to explain them properly. Number 9 is a suggestion that I can tell you, and you can fix it easily, but in practice it's really difficult because we are used to saying fillers like you know, like, and so. Instead of fillers, all you gotta do is simply pause. By pausing, you have the cheat code to get your mark for your tone, because pauses show strength and confidence and a positive tone. Plus, if you pause, you get time to think about your next point, which helps the task response. When you pause, you also signal to the examiner you are now moving on to your other point, helping them understand when you are transitioning. And pauses help remove the negative marking you are going to get if you use too many fillers. Use pauses instead of fillers. And guys, we're now here at our 10th tip, which is about ignoring a lot of things. As you know, ignorance is bliss. That really helps in reading. For example, have a look at this task here. Question number 6 says, what underpins the urgency to act on urban greening? Let's say I'm answering this question and I have my passage on the left-hand side. My focus should be on urgency. What is important? What is urgent right now? So what I need to do is ignore everything that you see here in red. Now you can see the first 3 lines, nothing about urgency, nothing about something that needs to be done right away. But I do see a word here that says underpin. I've highlighted this, but again, it says underpin the financial viability, which is not what we're talking about. Question number 6 was talking about underpinning the urgency to act. So this is put there to confuse you. Don't get confused yet. You see the green highlight? That's where it starts with the imperative to act is underscored by a, and here we talk about what is important, what we need to work on immediately. This is the paragraph I'm going to use. And when I am answering this question, I'm going to speed read everything else that is in red and cross it out in my head. Focus on the green, that helps me get the answer. So you simply need to focus on the keywords to get the answer, ignore the rest, don't work on everything and get stuck on every single word and phrase. That's a recipe for disaster. Guys, that's it for our 10 main cheat codes, shortcuts, and strategies that help you across the board in all modules for the CELPIP exam. Once again, if you want to do this exam without failure, check out our CELPIP 15-hour self-paced guaranteed improvement course down in the description. If you don't see any improvement, we refund all your money. Now, if you liked this video, I would really appreciate if you like, share, and subscribe. Really helps the channel grow. I appreciate your time.